Do, 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 do. Hey, it's gonna be back in front of the camera today. We are finishing up Metroid with a very shocking video I did not expect to be making about Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. So, I got in a couple sessions and a couple hours on this bad boy, and well, it's kind of weird bookending the month with videos about control schemes, but it is what it is. So, but first we opened it up, and the story blew me away. I was a bit leery of the controls even going in, and I waited for the longest time to play this because they were doing remasters, and there were rumored remasters of the HD trilogy for years and years and years. It was like, okay, so once they can finally do it, we can play the game and we don't have to worry about the motion controls, and boom, you know, happy camper. And then even with the Metroid Prime remaster, I didn't play that using motion controls, and I got my Wiimote here. So, you know, I did get the Metroid Prime, what is that? Just a Wii Day of So version for the Wii, and tried those controls, and it seemed really weird and unintuitive, at least compared to the original Metroid Prime 3 controls. But, that being said, having that knowledge of how to change the visors and the beams prepared me for this, and I must say that this is possibly one of the best motion control games I have ever played, and I'm going to quickly tell you why. You know, and that opinion may change as we continue through the game, but so what you do is you aim. This is your right stick, so you're looking around and you aim. Of course, it is very quick. I don't know, did this come out in 2007? I think this might have come out in 2007, which means it was designed for the Wiimote. I don't think the Wii Motion Plus came out until wasn't that developed for Skyward Sword? So that would be 2011. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's 4 whole years difference. So using this version of the Wiimote, it is very quick. And if you go too far off screen and hold it, it will go haywire. But it's very quick to come back to normal if you aim it again properly at the TV. So this is your right analog stick in essence. But you look around. Movement is your standard analog stick here on the nunchuck. And okay, so one of the great things about Metroid Prime is that you could select both beams and visors. The D-pad worked well for choosing the visors. The right stick, I don't know why I'm showing this because it doesn't have a right stick. Right stick worked very well for choosing the beam weapons. And, you know, I explained all that in the previous video. But, to simplify this, they removed the beam weapons, which you would think I would be very upset about being a core part of the Metroid franchise. But, it kind of works, and since this is your control setup, you don't need the beam weapons as much, and you work around it. So what you have is the regular beam with A. I just got hyper mode, so you can hold plus button and use your energy to fire powerful shots. And then missiles work by pressing down. Now I suppose since the top 3 buttons here on the D-pad are not used, they could have had different beam weapons for that. But it is what it is. To change visors, you hold the minus button, and then there are only 3 visors. Up to choose the scan visor, and that lets you scan things just like in Metroid Prime or Metroid Prime 2 with the Z button here on the back of the nunchuck. You go down to choose the command visor, which lets you call your ship in different situations, and which is good for save spots as well. And then I think, unless there's another visor, going down and to the left will give you the regular combat visor. Although, if you're in the scan visor, you can just shoot your weapon and it'll go back to that automatically as well. Over to the nunchuck. Of course, there's the analog stick, which helps remove, which I may have mentioned. The Z button, you can lock on for targeting and then still freely aim and move with their other controls. C turns you into the morph ball, which you fire bombs with A, and you can flick up to jump, which was also in Metroid Prime Remastered, so that made some of the bomb jump puzzles a little bit easier, and I'm not going to say whether I cheesed those or not, a little bit, but anyway. So yeah, the control scheme is, oh, I forgot, the grapple lasso and grapple beam. Once you get the grapple lassos first. Once you get that, you'll see some objects that you can lock onto. So lock onto it, you flick the nunchuck forward and pull it back, and it grabs those objects and pulls them away, clears the debris, or blast shield on the doors, depending on what you need to do. Shields of enemies, so that's pretty cool. Later on, I'm sure the grappling beam works the same way. You do that and then swing across just like you would in any Metroid game. So yeah, those are the controls. And I mean, for a motion game, not just for a motion game, they're pretty freaking awesome, regardless of being motion or not. And yeah, effective filter hypothesis, I'll admit, I have a mental block when it comes to motion games, because they're usually just not done very well, or they're tacked on to something. Like Skyward Sword, all you had to do was wiggle this a little bit, wiggle this a little bit, and change directions. And I mean, it wasn't the full-on hacking and slashing that Miyamoto envisioned. Of course you could if you wanted to really get into it, but nah, just sit there, wiggle, wiggle, done. And the Skyward Strike, you gotta hold it up just right, and oh, it's not perfect, so you can't charge your weapon, and while you're dinking around with that, get hit by enemies or the boss or whatever. So that wasn't the best control scheme in my opinion, but Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Retro Studios, they got it right. And I just don't see how, barring using the top weapon or top D-pads, maybe those could be different beam weapons, but it would be very difficult. And since the missile's so close there, you'd probably end up firing other stuff. The hint button, again, it's way down on the control, so it couldn't, I don't think anything else really functional would be mapped to that. But yeah, keep it simple. One beam, well, regular beam, not super beam, but you get what I'm saying. Missiles here, boom, jump. Jump, I don't really like the trigger beam jump, but what are you going to do? Have that be the weapon and A, B jump? You know, that's weird, and I think there's an option for that as well. But yeah, so this is perfectly imperfect for the game is made for, and the only way I could see them doing this any better is to go full on Ready Player One, the book, not the crappy movie, and yeah, put on gloves, because some of the Metroid fan sites have Samus doing different hand positions in the cannon to fire the different beam weapons. So if you put on the gloves, you could theoretically do that, although I don't really know how you would fire, maybe the thumb flicking or something. But yeah, you could probably keep the look with the VR helmet, just so you weren't looking all over the room, although that could be in the future as well. But yeah, I think this is the best control scheme for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, and as someone who doesn't like motion controls, that's a massive paradigm shift. And spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So early on you fight a boss that's in almost every Metroid game. You probably guessed it, Ridley. But Meta Ridley's back from Metroid Prime, and you're dropping through the space station towards the planet and in free fall. So you can move using the analog stick. You aim using this, and you gotta hit him in the mouth. I think Ridley's a he. You gotta hit Ridley in the mouth. You gotta hit Ridley in the claw when he's about to attack to interrupt that. And the adrenaline was pumping so hard. It was an amazing experience, and I know that's very hard to do. It would be very hard to recreate that on a standard controller. So, I mean, it was just freaking amazing. And, you know, I haven't changed my stance on motion controls entirely, because, yeah, some of them are just tacked on, others are done very poorly. But this is probably the best way to play this game, and I don't think a remaster and standard twin stick controls is going to live up to that. But yeah, so that's just my quick, way too early review of the controls of Metroid Prime 3. Again, as we continue through the game on normal mode, not hard mode. As we continue through the game, my opinion may change. It may become even more in favor of these motion controls. It may be a little, or might not be as glowing at the end of the game. But we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes during cleanup, because Metroid's about to end. But if you've stuck on this long, for me crapping on about motion controls, thank you. This week we're gonna hopefully finish up finish up the Final Fantasy VII Remaster over on Twitch. So if you're following us there, that's awesome. But yeah, we should have our anniversary live stream coming up, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a good one.